Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. Well, the date is 11th August 2025 and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which could be very much relevant for your preparation. So, without any delay, let's start our discussion looking at the first article, which basically talks about Election Commission of India and lack of transparency, which is worrying the nation. So what is the story here? From last 1 to 2 months, we are discussing this special intensive revision, which the Election Commission of India has conducted in the electoral rolls with respect to the elections in Bihar. So this special intensive revision which Election Commission of India conducted with respect to the electoral rolls in Bihar. So with respect to this, the results had raised various eyebrows. For example, what were the findings of this, revision? For example, almost 6.4 lakh, approximately 6.4 lakh voters were removed from the electoral rolls. So this raises the question. The first question, the Election Commission of India was not able to provide the proper evidence. First of all, the Election Commission of India did not provide the names of all these 6.4 lakh people who had lost their names from the electoral rolls. Then the second thing, which raises the question, Election Commission of India did not give the reasons why these names had been removed from the electoral rolls. So there is lack of transparency with respect to the Election Commission of India. We know that, we had discussed many times why this special intensive revision, why it was necessary, why it was conducted by the Election Commission of India. We know that, what are the reasons for this, to remove the bogus voters, to, reduce the duplication of voters. If you are very much aware of the current affairs, you would have seen how Rahul Gandhi accused Election Commission of India with respect to the Karnataka elections that there were many duplicate voters. So in order to overcome such issues, so there would not be any duplicate voters or bogus voters or proxy voters. It is necessary for Election Commission of India to conduct the this electoral revision exercise consistently. And so was done with respect to the Bihar elections. But the question is, in this electoral roll, in a special intensive exercise which was conducted in Bihar, many people lost their names. In lakhs, 6.4 lakh people lost their names with respect to the lost 65, not 6.4 lakh. Exactly, it is 65 lakh people lost their names from the electoral rolls, and who are these people? The names are not made public to the people. Second, there is no reason given why they had lost their names. And the third, which this article criticizes, that, and we had discussed that many times, that it is the burden of proof of citizenship which has been put on the citizens to prove to the Election Commission of India that you are the citizens, you are the domicile of this particular place, and this is huge burden on the people. And because of this, the article here criticizes this move of the Election Commission of India and says that this move can lead to the further disengagement of the people from the elections. It can lead, it can give rise to the further disenfranchisement of the voters. So these are the 3 points which are highlighted in this article. The rest we had discussed in our earlier discussions, why it was necessary, what were the challenges with respect to the Election Commission of India, what were the arguments against it, how people criticized it, especially the opposition leaders, how they criticized it, and eventually it went to the courts, and what the Supreme Court gave order with respect to this. We had discussed all that in detail. So these are 3 important key points which are raised in this article with respect to the transparency. First, the speculation is going on with respect to the electoral rolls in the market right now, in the country right now, that there are money, especially with respect to Karnataka elections, how many bogus voters, their duplication of voters were there, and with respect to Bihar elections, that many eligible voters were disenfranchised from the elections. So that's what is in this article. Now let's have a look at the key points which were categorically mentioned in the article, which could be very much important for you. So let's have a look at it. First, it talked about lack of transparency. Let's see, the Election Commission of India's special intensive revision exercise is being criticized for its lack of transparency. With no prior public consultation, the Election Commission of India has also not released a full public list of the 65 lakh voters whose names were deleted in Bihar, along with the reasons for their removal. We had discussed that. Second, massive scale of the deletion in Bihar alone, 65 lakh names were deleted from the voter list, a number that is greater than the winning margin in 2/3 of the constituencies in 2020 state elections. Then second, questionable rationale. The Election Commission of India has not publicly shared the independent appraisal that supposedly justify the need to a nationwide SIR, leading to concerns about the true reason for the exercise. We had discussed that. Then the third, stringent citizenship requirement. The Election Commission of India insistence on all voters providing documents to prove their citizenship is a new and controversial demand, which raises the possibility of mass disenfranchisement and has been linked to the idea of national register of citizens. We had discussed that. And missing record, the Election Commission of India's claim that the current process is similar in 2005 version to a version in Bihar, which we had discussed in our earlier classes, is difficult to verify as the relevant documents from the time are reportedly missing from the public domain. So these are the points which were highlighted in this article. I hope you had understood it and you had understood the article well. We are discussing this article from many time, from last 2 to 3 months, because it is the point, it is the most important thing which is happening right now, along with the Donald Duck's tariffs. So these are few things which can be very much relevant with respect to your mains exam in the upcoming year, or with respect to the prelims exam. So let's have a look at what kind of question can be asked with respect to this topic. Here the question says, with reference to the Election Commission of India, consider the following statements. First statement, the Election Commission of India is a constitutional body responsible for conduct of free and fair elections in India. That is true. The Election Commission of India has the power to revise and update electoral rules for both parliamentary and state legislative assembly elections. That is also true. The Election Commission of India's decisions regarding electoral rule revision are subject to judicial review. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with it, because judicial review, you have to understand that it is the basic feature and it would stand everywhere. Wherever you will see judicial review, it will be there. So with respect to this question, this can be a trick which you can apply in the exam if any such question would be asked. So with respect to this question, all the 3 statements are correct. So with this, I hope that you had understood this article very vividly. You had understood every part of it, and from the last few months we are discussing it. I don't think there is any need to discuss such article in the future if anything comes new with respect to this. So if in the coming days any article would be written, and if anything new is not written there, then we will not take up this article. Now let's move to the another article. Let's see what is given here. Well, this article is about the Gaza, the unfortunate thing which is happening there. The Benjamin Netanyahu, the PM of Israel, how he has dictated his terms that he is going to take over the Gaza with the force. So with respect to this article is there, and the article it in a way to discuss about Israel's decision to expand its military offense to seize Gaza city. It represents a direct challenge to mounting and international condemnation. We had recently discussed that how UK, France and Italy, such countries who are great allies of Israel, they started to criticize Israel for their move in the Gaza, how they accuse Israel of committing genocide there now. They accuse of Israel committing genocide there, and they stated, France categorically stated that if Israel is not going for the ceasefire, immediate ceasefire, they are going to recognize Palestine as as an independent state. So with respect to this article is there, and there is huge pressure on Israel, huge pressure coming from the world. There is only one country who is standing with Israel, that is US. Their closest ally, the Papa of Israel, or we can say the main bank of the Israel is US, and they are standing with them. So without US, Israel, we know that Israel is nothing, and all the countries who were their allies, they are now categorically changing their stance with respect to it. They are seeing how Israel is doing the genocide in the Gaza from last 3 years now. So with respect to this, irrespective of this huge pressure coming from the international communities, the article here highlights that Israel is not changing its stance at all. But what Israel is doing, it is going totally opposite to these claims, and it has claimed that they are going to expand its military offense to seize Gaza. So with respect to this, it is showing that how much Israel is going to how Israel is going to deal with it, and we are expecting that there would be more casualties in Gaza, and it could lead to the more human rights violation in there. So with respect to this, the article highlights here in simpler terms, it says that it's the world order, the countries in the world, they should put more pressure on the Israel, irrespective of just making the statements. They should they should give it the practical view to these statements. There should be bans, Israel should be banned, and these countries, they should sanction Israel. So in this way, it would put immense pressure on the Israel, and they would somehow stop this genocide there. So this is the crux of this article. Now let us see what are the key points given here. Here the article says that these are the key points. Let's have a look at it, and let's repeat with me so that you will get the proper idea. Then you don't need to read the newspaper. Here, first thing which was mentioned is about the expansion of the war. Israel's security cabinet has decided to expand the war with the goal of seizing control of Gaza City, despite international and domestic opposition, which we had discussed. Humanitarian crisis and famine. The article highlights the appalling humanitarian crisis, citing accusations of genocide, forced starvation leading to famine, and the deaths of children from malnutrition, which we had discussed, and it is very much evident now. Everybody, I guess, everybody who had some kind of humanity in his heart or in her heart, they can see what is happening in Gaza right now. So this is very much clear to everyone. So then the third point, widespread opposition to Israel policy. The article notes that two former Israeli prime ministers, along with the most former IDF and intelligence chiefs, have called for an end to the war. So this is very, we had seen that IDF leaders, there is a kind of opposition going on. There is kind of tussle going on between the executive wing and the military wing there in Israel with respect to this, because IDF, there are some leaders, they don't want to go into the Gaza and further expand their war in this region. So definitely it is very much visible there. And additionally, key allies like France and UK and Canada have demanded a ceasefire, which we had discussed. Questioning Israel's motive, the author argues that Netanyahu's actions, including breaking a ceasefire and resuming the assault, and the statements from his cabinet colleagues, suggest that the long-term goals has been to take over Gaza and expel its Palestinian population, which is very worrisome. Because first of all, there is genocide happening, people are dying, malnutrition is going on there. Now they will force these people to move away from their land, and eventually it would put pressure on the neighboring countries, and it will further destabilize the Middle East. Then call for accountability. The article concludes with a plea for European governments and the US to hold Israel accountable for its actions, similar to how they treat other nations by moving beyond verbal criticism. So this is what this article in a nutshell had provided us. So with this, let's have a look at it. We had also known that how South Africa reached to International Criminal Court, and they gave the International Criminal Court accused this person, PM of Israel, as he is committing genocide there. So with respect to this, let's have a look at it. Let's try to find out how the question can be framed. With reference to the International Criminal Court, consider the following statement. The International Criminal Court has the jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for crimes of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. That's true. Both Israel and United States are not members of the ICC. That is also true. The ICC is a judicial organ of the United Nations. No, it is independent then to the United Nations. So the correct statements with this question is option 1 and option 2. That is the statement. Option B is the correct option. So with this, let's move to another article. Let's have a look at it. Well, it is about the 3-language policy opposed by, basically it is about 3-language policy opposed by Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Well, in this article, the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, they had argued that they are not going to impose the three language policy, but they have their own two language policy. You know, this the three language policy came in the backdrop of the new education policy 2020. So these states, these South Indian states, they feel very much uncomfortable with the new education policy, especially with respect to the three language policy which was there, that all the states they should implement three languages. And to be fair with the center, they did not said that they have to impose the Hindi. They said that three languages should be there, and it should be the students who should actually adopt which language they want to discuss in, they want to study in. And it was up to these states and the students which language they will choose. But the South Indian states, they took it that the center is trying to impose Hindi on them. Center is trying to impose Hindi on them, which they did not like it. And now they are accusing that there is the center is highly concerned about the imposition of Hindi, and in this way they are in a way neutralizing the modern education. They are neutralizing the growth. They are neutralizing the innovation when they are focusing on the Hindi. This is what the claims of, these are the claims from the South Indian states. And now with respect to this, the South Indian states, they are going to impose the state education policy there, which they have the two language policy, in which they will take up the English as the main language and some and their regional language. So this is what the article highlights in nutshell. They are criticizing the center. They are saying that center is highly interested in imposing the Hindi on us, but at the same time they are the center is forgetting the other aspects of the education. They are neutralizing the other aspects of the education. So with respect to this, let's see what were the key points given in the article, so that you will get the holistic idea, and you do need to read the newspaper, then we will see the question. Here, key points: rejection of three language policy. Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are implementing their own state education policies that explicitly reject the three language policy outlined in the National Education Policy 2020. We had discussed that. Primacy of local language and English. The new policies in both states makes their local languages, which is Tamil and Kannada, and English, the two compulsory languages for school education. We had discussed that. Then state specific curriculum. The Karnataka's proposed state education policy recommends moving away from the NCERT textbooks to develop a state specific curriculum. Tamil Nadu's special education policy, state education policy makes Tamil a compulsory subject up to class 10. That also I had highlighted, not these points, but in a general way. So you had got it here. Then we have the broader education goals. Both state policies also focus on modern education priorities like promoting critical thinking, digital literacy, and providing special support for tribal students, first generation learners, and students with disabilities. Then we have the impact on the federalism and controversy. The article highlights a growing tension between the center and the state on education policy, with the center's focus on language being perceived as a political project of domination, leading to resistance. So these are some key points which were given in the article, which you need to focus on. Then let's have a look at the type of question which can be asked here. Here the question says, with reference to the National Education Policy 2020 and its language policy, consider the following statements. First statement: the National Education Policy 2020 proposes a three language formula with the flexibility for states to choose the language. That is true. Second, the states of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka have officially adopted the three language policy formula. Incorrect. The new Education Policy 2020 recommended that the medium of instruction should be a child's mother tongue up to grade 5 and preferably up till grade 8. That is true. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. So with this, I hope you had understood the article. Now let's move to the another article. But before we move to the another article, I would like to give you the brief introduction about our initiative, which we had started from 2nd June 2025 on this platform. You know, every day we had promised you that first of all, the name of the initiative is Target IAS 2026. Under this initiative, we had promised you that every day we are going to upload 2 videos. One in the morning session where we will discuss the current affairs, which is this video. Second, in the evening session where we will discuss the static syllabus of yours. And we had started here with Indian polity, which we had completed. Then we discussed the governance part and completed fully. Here we had discussed it that every day, we will try to, here we had discussed it in the second part that by the month of January 2026 we are going to complete your full syllabus. Whatever would be required for you to clear the exam, we will cover that, whether it would be related to prelims or mains, and the only exception is the optional subjects. That is very much evident to you guys. And also I had told you, as we are delivering these lectures, we are preparing your notes, and we had already prepared the comprehensive book for the Indian polity and governance, which is available now. If you want to get access to it, please do mail us, and you would be told to pay only 200 rupees. This book is very comprehensively written. Trust me, if I would had I would have taken different approach to it and published it, then it would have costed for you guys more than 700 rupees, I guess, in that way. So here for you guys, it is there is huge discount on you, just 200 rupees per piece. You would be told to pay 200 rupees, and the electronic copy would be available to you guys. So if you want to get access to it, it would be very much available to you guys. Just pay 200 rupees and mail us. And one more thing about this book, this is very comprehensively written. After every topic there would be the possible prelims question if the topic is related to prelims, and mains question if the topic is related to mains, so that it will give the idea how important these topics are, how important these concepts are, and how the questions can be asked from that. So if you want to get access to it, please do mail us and do read the book. And also, from today we are going to discuss the ancient history. Today we will upload our first class with respect to ancient history. Please do join us at 6 p.m. Exactly at 6 p.m. we are going to upload it. So this is the initiative. If you want to be the part of it, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from it. And please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. Now, without any delay, let's move to the third article and see what is given there. Well, the article is about the providing justice for juveniles. Providing justice for juveniles. So what is this article about? There was a person in 2010 or 11, I guess this was the date, when he was accused of a crime, and he was treated as an adult then. He was treated as an adult and he served jail 13 years jail time. Eventually, they raised a plea, and it was proven that he was not an adult that time, but he was a juvenile. He was a child, and the courts they gave the compensation to him, approximately 50,000, for this injustice which happened with him. So with respect to this, the article here highlights that the courts had raised a concern with such cases. The courts had said that the Karnataka High Court has said that whenever such cases are heard, it is the duty on the police. First of all, it is the duty on the police and the magistrate to identify this person, whether he is juvenile, offender, or he is the adult. So they have to clearly identify that, and according to that, the punishment should be given. Otherwise, it leads to huge injustice to such people, because we had laws with respect to the juveniles. The major reason for these juvenile punishments, it is not giving the punishment to them, but to reform these children who had committed some heinous crime when they did not have the proper senses. So this is the idea of it, and treating them like the adults is not at all good. It is not at all fair with them. So this is what this article here highlights. It is the Karnataka High Court judgment. So let's see what were the key points given in here. Here, first, failure to identify the juveniles. The judgment criticized the police and magistrate for their failure to identify Karthik as a juvenile at the time of the offense in 2011. This led to him being tried as an adult and spending 13 years in an adult prison that we had discussed. The legal principle of juvenility. A plea of juvenility can be raised at any stage of criminal proceedings, even after a conviction. This can be very much relevant for your prelims exam. This statement can be made. According to the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015, a juvenile is someone who was under 18 years old at the time of the crime, that we know. Then the purpose of the Juvenile Justice Act. The core purpose of the JJ Act is to provide a rehabilitative and reformative environment for minors. Minors should be protected presented before the Juvenile Justice Board, and if found guilty would serve a maximum of 3 years in a juvenile home, not an adult prison, that we had discussed. Then court's directive for systematic reform in a precedent setting up, the Karnataka High Court ordered an inquiry into the matter and awarded the individual 50,000 in compensation. This court also directed that the legal professionals, including judges and police, be sensitized to the new Karnataka Juvenile Justice Rules 2025 to prevent such errors in the future. Harm of adult prison. The article highlights the severe risks juveniles face in adult prisons, including physical violence, sexual abuse, and the possibility of them becoming hardened criminals, which completely defeats the purpose of the juvenile justice. So these are some issues which they face in if they are treated as adults and they are thrown into the adult prisons. So with respect to this, I hope you had got the basic idea what was in the news article. You don't need to read it now. So now let's see what kind of question can be asked with respect to this article. Here the question says, with reference to Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2015, consider the following statements. First, the Act defines a juvenile as a person who has not completed 18 years of age at the time of the offense. That is true. Second, a plea of juvenility can be raised at any stage of a criminal proceedings, including after the trial has concluded. That is also true. The Act mandates that a minor found guilty of a crime must be sent to an adult prison. That is totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, all the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. With this, I hope you had understood the article, what were the key points in it, and how it could be relevant for your exam. Now let's move to the another article here. Well, this article is talking about India-ASEAN trade relations. You know, we had a trade agreement, free trade agreement with ASEAN countries, and with respect to this free trade agreement, it did not went well with India because we have huge trade deficit here, trade deficit here. And you know, with respect to ASEAN countries, once our one of our ministers said that ASEAN nations are the B teams of China. It is the B team of China. So with respect to this, and we can see right now the position of our foreign policy, how the position of international relations, the impact of the Donald Trump's tariffs, it has forced India to go for beyond USA, go for various other markets, and ASEAN nations are very important in this regard because it is also our Look East policy, Act East policy, which which gives us this edge with the ASEAN nations, and also this free trade agreement which we had with them, and also the forced nature of the USA right now, which in a way makes it essential for us to widen our markets. So this how this ASEAN nations are important right now for us. So what is going on? Let's have a look at it. First, India is fast tracking negotiations with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to review the ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement. So what we are going to do, we are fast tracking negotiations with the ASEAN nations to review the ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement. To review ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement. So we are going to review ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement. This renewed effect is driven by two major factors. What are these two major factors? First, imposition of 25% tariffs from USA. This is one of the reasons, because we have to go beyond USA, we have to look for other markets. And also there are definitely, we had signed this agreement, but it did not went well with India because we have huge trade deficit with ASEAN nations. So it is to address a growing trade deficit with the ASEAN countries, also to address these growing trade deficits with ASEAN nations. So, and also the important factor in this is that to repair the damage which was caused by the statement of the Commerce Minister, which said that the ASEAN nations are the B team. To repair this damage, the India is fast tracking these negotiations. So with respect to this, the goal is to complete the ASEAN India Trade in Goods review by the end of this year and strengthen India's strategic and economic ties with the Southeast Asian countries. So with respect to this, let's have a look at what were the key points. Here the key points are: first, ASEAN India Trade in Goods Review. A delegation from ASEAN is meeting with the Indian officials to fast track the review of the 2019 ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement with the aim of completing talks by the end of the 2005. Growing trade deficit. A major motivation for the talks is the widening trade imbalance, with India's trade deficit with ASEAN swelling from 12.9 billion in 2017-18 to 45.2 billion in 2024-25, and the impact of US tariffs. The recent imposition of 25% additional tariffs by the USA is giving India further impetus to secure other trade agreements to diversify its trade partnerships. And also diplomatic review, which we saw that the renewed engagement with the ASEAN is a strategic move to mend relations following a past comment by the India's Commerce Minister that referred to ASEAN countries as the BT of China. So with this, let's have a look at what kind of question can be asked in the exam with respect to this topic. Here the question says, with reference to India's trade relations with Southeast Asian nations, consider the following statement. First, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations is a trade bloc of 10 members nations, 100%. Who are these 10 member nations? It is Brunei, it is Cambodia, it is Indonesia, it is Laos, it is Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. These are the 10 members who are a part of the ASEAN nation, who are the part of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Then the second statement, the ASEAN India Trade in Goods Agreement is a preferential trade agreement. No, it is the free trade agreement. That is also incorrect. Third statement, India walked out of the regional comprehensive economic partnership agreement in 2019. That is also true. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, I hope you had understood the article, you had understood the key points in the article, and you had also understood how this article can be relevant for your prelims exam. So with this, let's move to the last article of today's discussion. Let's have a look at it. Well, this article is talking about, how this article is talking about the speech of Union Environment Minister Bhupinder Yadav. Speech of Union Environment Minister Bhupinder Yadav, where he highlighted that on the World Lion Day, he highlighted that how there has been a significant increase in India's Asiatic lion population. He highlighted that there has been this significant increase in Asiatic lions population in India. From earlier it used to be in 2017-18 it was 674, and now it is 891. So definitely there has been increase in it. And why it is so? Because of the India's strong conservational efforts. And also in this regard, the government has introduced the Barda Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat. It has been developed as a new habitat for lioness. So the article also mentions about the Barda Wildlife Sanctuary in Gujarat. It has been developed as a new habitat for lions. And also this Union Environment Minister, he also talked about various policies which the government of India has launched. For example, in government of India launched International Big Cats Alliance, which talks about the conservation of 7 big cats, which are the 7 big cats. These are tiger, lion, leopard, snow leopard, puma, jaguar, and cheetah. The conservation of these 7 big lions. Out of these 7 big lions, 7 big cats, only 5 are available in India and 2 are in Latin America. Which are these 2? Puma and jaguar. So this is what in nutshell this article here talks about. And it also talks about the increase in the number of tiger reserves to 50, how India has done great with respect to the wildlife protection. So with respect to this, let's have a look at what were the key points and let us assess them. Here, first point, Asiatic lion population growth. The population of Asiatic lions in Gujarat has increased to 891, up from 674 5 years ago. Also, new habitat, the Barda Wildlife Sanctuary has been developed as a new second home for the Asiatic lions. Unique conservation model. The article praises the unique bond between the Maldhari community and the lions in the Giri region. It is the conservation model which the environment minister has raised, that how there has been the community which are living nearby the Giri region, how they had contributed to the conservation of these people, because with the help of them we had achieved this success. It is one of the successful example of human wildlife coexistence. And also India's broader conservation efforts. The minister highlighted India's commitment to wildlife conservation by mentioning the establishment of international big cats. We discussed the increase in the number of tiger reserves to 58, the success of projects like Project Lion, Project Tiger, and the reintroduction of cheetahs from Africa, and the ongoing conservation of the other species like the snow leopard and the great Indian bustard. So this is what this article in nutshell talks about. So with this, let's have a look at the kind of question which can be asked from this article. Here the question says, with reference to the conservation of big cats in India, consider the following statements. First, the Asiatic lion is found exclusively in the Giri Forest National Park and its surrounding areas in Gujarat, 100% true. The Barda Wildlife Sanctuary is being developed as a second habitat for the Asiatic lion. That is also true. India is home to 6 of the 7 major big cats species found globally, no 5 of the 7. So third statement is incorrect. With respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. With this, we had completed the discussion with respect to today's articles. I hope you would have understood them. If there is any confusion, please do write in the comments. We will try our best to reach out to you guys and provide you the best solutions. So, and also I would like to mention that please do watch the video, and if you had watched it till now, please wait for our next lecture which we are going to upload at 6 p.m. exactly, so that you will come to know with respect to your static syllabus. We are going to cover from today the history, and starting with the Indian ancient history. So if you like this initiative, please do subscribe, do share it with your friends, so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. With this, I would like to thank you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.